Not going to lie. Regular hold or guarding in this rise is not as useful as it was in the past. The reason is all weapons gaining invulnerable or super armored silkbind's powers that double up as attack and defense 2 in 1 and without a skill cost. Why invest in guarding when you can counter all day long with guard edge by example? Well, one reason is that silkbinds aren't unlimited. You only have 3 bugs with cooldowns, and if you abuse these counters you can find yourself without bugs for your damage dealing attacks. The other reason is that the major shield weapons, Charge Blade, Lance and Gunlance, have moves where you can follow up the guard with a powerful attack. If the monster move pushes you back, then you lose your chance to unleash your attack, so a good guard can still be useful to raise your damage. If you watch Lance or Charge Blade speedruns, you will see how most use some points in the guard skill. Before talking about the guard skill, let's talk about the basics of guarding. Every single attack in the game, including roars, has a value in the database called power. This value basically rules how much impact an attack does and is a fixed value that doesn't change depending on the monster rank or if it is enraged or anything. Against this impact comes your weapon guard thresholds. For every guarding weapon there are 2 thresholds, the small impact threshold and the large impact threshold. When you receive an attack with an impact value lower than your small value, then you get the smallest kind of knockback and 0 damage is dealt to you from guarding. On the other hand, if an impact is equal or greater than your large impact, you will be fully pushed, cancelling your current animation and receive a 20% damage of the attack. Meanwhile, if the impact is between both values, you get a medium impact that deals to you 10% damage and your attacks are also interrupted. The type of impact also determines how much stamina gets drained by the attack. A large impact drains 4 times as much as a small impact, while medium is in the middle. Thankfully, stamina is rarely an issue in this game. Large shields also get the boon of being able to recover stamina while moving forward, being even harder to drain all your stamina using one. With a fully upgraded armor there is little difference between the medium and the large damage except for the heaviest hitting attacks, but in general what you should look at is to have a small impact. For small impact purposes there are 2 thresholds. Bad guards, threshold 15. Sword and shield, greatsword and heavy bowgun. Good guard, threshold 40. Lance and gunlance. And then there is the Charge Blade. Charge Blade has a natural threshold of 15 but gets plus 10 while the elemental shield is active, and another plus 10 when is using a guard point, so can get 35 threshold. The difference between the baddies and the goodies is huge. The only way to improve these values is using the guard skill. The guard skill has 5 levels. Every level reduces the stamina cost of guarding, but only the uneven values, 1, 2 or 3 have an effect in the pushback. Each 2 levels you get plus 10 to the threshold. This means that a guard 5 great sword gets a threshold of 45, meaning a small impact in every attack a gunlance can guard without a single point. Lance and gunlance can get up to 70. Thanks to this, I can easily demonstrate I haven't bullshitting all this time. Here at the Mechanodon, without guard a gunlance gets a full pushback. With guard 1, gets a medium pushback. And with guard 3 a small pushback. This means, the Mechanodon stomp is between 50 and 60 points. A greatsword small threshold with guard 5 is still 45 and is not enough for a small impact, getting the medium one. With guard 3, you also get the medium impact. At guard 1, with a large threshold of 50 is not enough to stop getting the largest knockback. Greatswords and sword and shells also get sharpness reduced when guarding, and the distance knocked back is much greater than with the other shielded weapons. Disregarding the stamina use, we get that if an attack is giving you a large impact even with guard 5, then, guard 5 is as good as not having guard at all. And the opposite. If you can guard most attacks of a monster with guard 1 or 0, then investing into more is a waste of resources that could go into something more useful. I see guys picking guard 5 for protection against something like a Teostra Supernova when it only does that once or twice per hunt and has a huge tell. Note that if you have a guard value of 50 and the threshold is exactly 50, you still will get pushed. Gunlance and Charge Blade gets blessed by the existence of the Bagel Goose set that comes with artillery, load up, a lot of skills and guards, so they will always end with guard 1 to 3. About guard up, it has been greatly nerfed from past games, and the result is that now you get more damage when guarding these attacks. A trick is that if you have a special damaging negating switch skill like gunlance guard edge, then with a single point of guard up is enough to reduce all the damage to 0 when guarding with the silkbind. Reserve guard up 3 only for those monsters that really spam their unblockable attacks. To find out the impact of attacks beforehand, you have normally the option to check them in Kiriniko, but usually it is hard to recognize an attack because they are untranslated there and the game never tells you the attacks. For easier reference, the Twitter user at @tech_lancer published a quick reference table you can follow up for lance and gunlance. In the tweet he asks for not redistributing the table, so I'm adding the link in the comments so you can get it yourself, and do me a favor to like and thank him for the work that put into this. Feel free to change the table into your own preferences or for whatever is good for charge blade. If you are using sword and shield, greatsword or heavy bowgun, you can see there are really no monsters which guard 0 is recommended, and guard 5 in these weapons are worse than level 1 guard on lance. So don't bother investing in guard for these weapons. This is everything for today. Before leaving a resume of everything talked, go for a small pushback or nothing at all. Sword and shield, greatsword and heavy bowgun will not be able to get a small pushback. Damage you get is based on the pushback. Only levels 1, 3 and 5 can reduce pushback. You may use only guard up 1. Bagelgoose armor good. And nothing more to say. Cow Slayer blasting off.